Richard Tice isn't deputy leader. He's a glorified receptionist. You watch these people in suits and assume there's a strategy, a hierarchy, a machine working in the background. There isn't. There's just Nigel Farage and the people he allows to carry his bags. Richard Tice gave up his leadership to be part of a revolution, but Julia Hartley-Brewer just exposed him for what he really is, a man who finds out his own party's business by watching the news. So in this video, we're going to look at Tice's face when he realises he's irrelevant. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no love for Julia Hartley-Brewer. The woman is poisonous. She usually operates with the nuance of a sledgehammer in a glass factory. But sometimes you need a sledgehammer. And when she decides to eat her own, she doesn't leave crumbs. And look what she found on a plate today. Richard Tice. The news broke this week of Robert Jenrick, a man desperate to be relevant, has been sacked from the shadow cabinet for plotting to defect to reform. This was massive news for Tice's party. This was the big league. So, what was the Deputy Leader of Reform doing while the political landscape was shifting?
No, I wasn't. I was just in the chamber, just making some comments to the Minister about the ludicrous digitalised D scheme and came out to see that Kemi Badenoch's either had a nightmare overnight or had a dream, it's unclear which.
While the Tory party is imploding and his boss is brokering power deals, Richard is in the chamber whining about an ID app. He's rearranging the deck chairs while Nigel is buying the iceberg. He admits he had no idea. He walked out of the chamber and checked his phone like a tourist. Julia smells his weakness immediately. She knows how this game works. If you're the deputy leader and you don't know your party is poaching a former shadow cabinet minister, you're not a player, you're just a prop.
Clearly been conversations at the highest levels. Are you saying that you were not aware that Nigel Farage was having conversations with the Shadow Justice Secretary about him defecting to your party? Are you out of the loop, Richard?
Watch him squirm. He tries to pull the honourable gentleman card. He tries to claim the moral high ground about privacy.
The whole point about private is that it is private.
There's private, there's not sharing it with the world or the whole party. You're the deputy leader of the party.
It's quite pathetic, really. It's the sound of a man who wasn't invited to the group chat trying to pretend he didn't want to be there anyway. He claims that he doesn't give a running commentary. But there's a problem with this defence. And that problem is Nigel Farage. Julia plays a clip of Farage from 20 minutes earlier, and guess what? Nigel loves the running commentary. Nigel is singing like a canary. He admits he's been talking to senior Conservatives and Jenrick specifically. Tice is sitting there claiming private means private while his boss is on a podium in Scotland telling the world everything.
You're the deputy leader of the party. You gave your leadership away to get Nigel Farage back. Are you out of the loop?
The whole point about not giving a running commentary is exactly that.
So you did know?
What I'm delighted to confirm is that I've had no discussions with Mr. Jenrick about this.
That is the dagger. That is the moment the facade drops. Tice handed over his company, his platform and his dignity to Nigel Farage. In exchange, he thought he would be the right-hand man, a trusted lieutenant. Instead, he's finding out about party recruitment drives from Julia Hartley-Brewer. He tries to laugh it off. He puts on this smirking, I know more than I'm saying face.
Just have a funny feeling from the smirk on your face. You absolutely were.
She's given him too much credit. That isn't the smirk of a man with a secret. That is the frozen smile of a man realising he's been humiliated on national TV. He calls reform a broad church. It's not a church, it's a solo act. Nigel Farage is the talent, the manager and the ticket seller. Richard Tice is just the guy standing outside hoping someone asks him for directions. And if you think I'm being harsh on Richard Tice, then just listen to Nigel Farage himself. He doesn't even pretend this is democracy anymore. He practically bragged about it in Scotland. When asked if he could overrule his new Scottish leader, a man who he'd just appointed without a single member casting a vote, Nigel didn't talk about committees or constitutions. He talked about business.
I regard myself as a political entrepreneur. I regard myself as the chief executive officer of what is effectively a company that we're growing from a small to a medium to a big company. And yes, I have a very high degree of overall operational control and final decision making. Yes, I do.
There it is. He said the quiet part out loud. Reform isn't a political party. It's a limited liability company and Nigel holds all the majority shares. He stood on a stage in Scotland and introduced Malcolm Offord not as the leader elected by the people, but as a middle manager appointed by head office.
I have absolutely no hesitation as leader of Reform UK to announce that from this moment, plain Malcolm Offord is leader of Reform UK Scotland. I've appointed him leader.
I've appointed him. Not we've elected him. I appointed him. He claims he democratised the party because he doesn't own 2/3 of the shares anymore. But listen to the language. He is the CEO. Tice is the receptionist who doesn't get told when visitors are coming. And Malcolm Offord, well, he's the regional manager for the Scottish branch, brought in to hit the KPIs before the next quarter. Reform isn't building a movement. It's building a cult of personality. And everyone else is just waiting to see if Nigel texts them back. Because in Reform UK Limited, if Farage knows, the party knows. If Farage doesn't tell you, you don't matter.